Hello there, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Young, and I am so excited to do lesson 1.8 with you, Relate Multiplication to Division. Please turn in your Go Math workbook to lesson 1.8, and we will begin. It is found on page 17 in your math book. All right, we're going to start with question number 2. And what we're going to do is we want to find a related multiplication problem to the question 96 divided by 6. Because we know that the multiplication is the inverse operation of division, we can find it. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to write a related multiplication problem. So on your line, will you please write a related multiplication problem? 6 times what will equal 96? Now what I want you guys to do is we want to go ahead and find out what is going to be that mystery number. That mystery number is going to be right here. So let's get started. All right, I'll pick a different color here. Let's pick red. Now what we're going to do is we're going to build a box. So will you somehow find room on your book right around here to just take notes? Or if you'd rather do it on notebook paper, that could also work too. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to build a box and we're going to divide it down the middle. And we're going to stick the factor 6 right here on the outside of the box. And now what we're going to do is we want to find what number, if I multiply 6 by times a multiple of 10, can I get that's close to 96 without going over? So let's start with 10. 6 times 10 is 60. 6 times 20 would be 120. Now 120 is too much. So let's go ahead and let's write 10 right here. And we all know 6 times 10 is 60. So in our box, we'll write 60. And now here's where we have to figure out what's this mystery number right here. This number right here should help us equal 96 if you add 60 to it. So 60 plus what will give me 96? Well, I know if I did 96 minus 60, I would get 36. And we all know that if I put 36 here, we know 6 times 6 would equal 36. We know 6 times 6 would give me 36. So let's put a 6 right there. Now, this up here is going to be that other factor, that missing multiplication factor. 10 plus 6 is 16. So right there, I'm going to write 16 on that missing line. And that's my related multiplication problem. But wait, we're going to turn this into distributive property to show how you can figure this out by finding the distributive property as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to say our two multiplication problems you see. We have 6 times 10. So right here on the line, will you write 6 times 10 plus, and then we're going to say 6 times 6. 6 times 6. Will you write that on the line for me? And now this would be our related multiplication problem that you would actually be able to know that would actually solve 96 divided by 6. Because this would equal 96. Watch. 60 plus 36 is 96. Therefore, I know that 16 was my missing factor. We're going to go ahead and do a couple more for practice, so don't worry. Okay, let's try the next one. Okay, let's look at number 3. Number 3 says 85 divided by 5. So right here next to it on the line, will you write with me our related multiplication problem? That's going to be 5 times what would equal 85? Write that on the line with me. 5 times would equal 85. And now, if you have notebook paper, you can build the box, or if you could fit it somewhere on your paper, that's fine too, inside your book. All right, let's go ahead and find our related multiplication problem. First things first, let's take this factor of 5, and we're going to write it right outside of our box. Now, let's think of multiples of 10. That will go right here. I cannot go over 85. So let's start with 10. 5 times 10 is 50. 5 times 20 would be 100. And since I know 100 is too high, I'm going to write 10 right here. And I know 10 times 5 is 50. So let's put 50 in the box. Now we have to find that mystery number that goes right in here. And remember, to figure out that mystery number, we're going to figure out what can equal 85 when you add 50 to it. 50 plus what will give me 85? Now remember, if you're not sure, you can just subtract 50 from 85. And do you see how I get 35? That's my mystery number right there. Now, here's where it gets easy. Count by fives times what will equal 35. If you count by fives, you know 5 times 7 would equal 35. So your answer for the factor that will go right here is going to be, right here in this spot would be 17, because you're going to add these 7 and 10 together. So let's go ahead and write 17 on this line. So our related multiplication problem would be 5 times 17 would equal 85. But before we move on to the next problem, let's go ahead and show this as it would look as a distributive property. So that we're going to say 5 times 10. Let's write that down right here on our line underneath. I'll pick a different color so you can see it better. 5 times 10 plus, and then we're going to do 5 times 7. 5 times 7. That would be the related multiplication problem. And you know it's correct because if you added, or if you multiplied this and get 50, 50 plus 35, see there? We know would equal 85. So this is my related multiplication problem that would work to solve 85 divided by 5. We know the product would be 17, the 10 and the 7 together, which is why we put that there. All right, let's try another one. All right, for this one, boys and girls, number 4, it says 84 divided by 6. Remember step 1? What we're going to do is we're going to say 6 times what will give me 84. This is my related multiplication problem. Our goal is to figure out what this missing factor is. Got that written down with me? Now let's go ahead and build our box. Again, you could do that on notebook paper if you need it bigger, or write it somewhere on your paper. All right, remember what we stick outside this box? We're going to put 6. So let's go ahead and write 6 right there. Now, our next step is count our multiples, counting by tens. 6 times what is going to give me a number that's not going over 84. So if I put 10 up here, I know that will equal 60. I know 20 would be too high because that would give me 120. That's way too high. Now, what's my mystery number right here? I have to figure out 60 plus what to give me this 84. Well, if we know 84 take away 60 minus 60 is going to give me 24, then that's going to go right there in the box. And now you can figure out this number right here. All right, 6 times what will give me 24? If you said 4, you know your multiples of 6, then you are correct. So that right there will be our missing factor, which is 10 plus 4. So we're going to stick 10 plus 4 right there and get 14 in my mystery answer for finding out 6 times what will give me 84. All right, before we move on, what we're going to do now is we're going to pull it apart and do a distributive property. So let's look at our 2 mini multiplication problems. 6 times 10 and 6 times 4. Will you write that down with me? 6 times 10 and 6 times 4. You can just write that on the line right here. Hold on, can I go back there? Yeah, here we go. 6 times 10 and 6 times 4. All right, boys and girls, that's going to give you your related multiplication problem in the form of distributive property. All right, I think you're getting good at this. Let's try a couple more before we finish. All right, let's look at the next one. It says 168 divided by 7. Our job is to figure out our related multiplication problem. So let's go ahead and write 7 times will give me 168. All right, our job is to figure out this mystery number right here. So let's build our box. Just take your pencil, make a rectangle, and remember we stick this factor right here on the outside of your box. So write a 7 with me right there, okay? Now we're going to ask 7 times what will give me a multiple right here that doesn't go over 168. So if we put 10, I know 7 times 10 is 70. Now that's really low compared to 168. So let's put 20. 7 times 20 is 140 because I know my basic facts. So let's go ahead and stick 140 right in here. Now notice how it's less than 168, so we're still doing good. It didn't go over. Now what's this mystery number? This number plus what will give me 168? So 168 minus the 140. And do you see how it's 28? So we're just going to stick 28 there. Now I know what the answer is going to be. 7 times what will give me 28? If you put 4 up here, you are absolutely right. So that's going to be the answer that goes in our mystery number. It's going to be 7 times 24. All right? But we don't finish until we write our related distributive property. So let's go ahead. I'll take the color red, and I'm going to set it up. And our 2 mini multiplication problems will be 7 times 20 and 7 times 4. Let's record those down here. 7 times 20 and 7 times 4. And you could write that on the line right there inside your book. All right, I hope you're starting to get good at this, and I hope it's making sense. And honestly, if I'm going too fast or if you're getting a little confused, don't worry, because in class tomorrow, I'm going to be practicing this whole group, and you're going to become the expert. Trust me. All right, our next question is 179 divided by 9. So our related multiplication problem will be 9 times what will give me 171. That's for question number 7. You know the next step, build your box. Do you remember what goes on the outside of the box? If you said 9, this factor, you are absolutely right. So I'll put a 9 right there. And remember, now we're going to count by multiples of 10. So that way, we can know, is 10 or 20 going to work best right here, or even 30? What would fit right up there? So let's start with 10. I know 9 times 10 is 90, but that's really far away from this. Let's try 9 times 20. I know 9 times 20 is 180. Did that go too high? It did. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my eraser, and I'm going to go back to 10. That's what we call trial and error. I know 90 is kind of far, but it's too high if you say 20. So let's go ahead, and now that we know 90 is in our first box, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 90 from 171. So that way I can get 81 left over. Oh my goodness, I know what this missing factor is going to be up here. 9 times what is 81? If you know your facts, then you should have automatically wrote up here 9. And this is going to be the answer that would fit right in this line right here. 9 times 19. So let's put a 19 right here in our mystery box or number. And now let's write a related distributive property. So I'm going to take the color green here, and I'm going to set up my board for you to see on my iPad that I'm working on, so you can actually see how we can write it on our paper. What are our 2 mini multiplication problems to show the distributive property? If you were thinking 9 times 10, how did I get that? 9 times 10. And then we're going to also say 9 times 9. So it's going to be plus 9 times 9. That is the related distributive property that you can see to solve 171 divided by 9. 9 times 10 and 9 times 9. And I was able to figure it out just by drawing a model. Okay, we have a couple left. Let's go ahead and do 102 divided by 6. If you want to pause the video and try it on your own and check it with me, this would be a great time now that you've had some practice. But if not, work along with me. All right, our related multiplication problem will be 6 times what will give me 102. Let's set it up. My number that goes on the outside is going to be a 6, so let's build the 6 right on the outside of our box that we drew. And now we remember, we want to talk about the multiples of counting by tens up here that we multiply by 6 to see will it go over 102 or under it. So let's start with 10. 6 times 10 is 60. 6 times 20 would be 120. Since that's too much, let's put a 10 up here. Here we go. 6 times 10 is 60. And now I need to find what goes in this extra box. Remember to find that, figure out 60 plus what will give me 102. 60 plus what should equal 102. Again, a method you can do that is to subtract if you're not sure. And if you got 42, you are right. And now, for those of you that know your facts, 6 times what will give me 42? I bet you a lot of you knew 7. And that's going to be my mystery answer. 7 plus 10, or 10 plus 7 is 17. Go ahead and write 17 on your line there. And let's break it up for distributive property, because distributive property is a breakup method. So we're breaking up 102 divided by 6, and we're going to find this. Ready? 6 times 10 and 6 times 7. Let's go ahead and write that down. 6 times 10 and 6 times 7. That's going to be our related distributive property multiplication sentence that we would use to solve 102 divided by 6. But really, the easiest way to do this is to build this model for you to guide yourself to get this. All right, let's put a 10 up here. Let's try another one. Here we go. All right, now we're down to our problem solving for real world. The question says, Ken is making gift bags for a party. He has 64 colored pens. Ooh, that number sounds good. Let's circle that. 64 color pens, and wants to put the same number in each bag. That's a division clue. How many bags will Ken make if he puts 4 pens in each bag? So 4 pens is important. So my division problem will be 64 total number of colored pens, and we're going to divide them by putting 4 pens in each bag. And this blank quotient right here would tell me how many bags he's going to need. So now let's go ahead and write a related multiplication problem. Will you write the related multiplication problem right here on our line right there? So let's go ahead and do 4 times what will give me 64. And we're going to figure this out by drawing the box. So find room on your paper or use notebook paper to set up your box. Remember, that comes out here is going to be a 4. And we can't count by 10. We have to count by tens, multiples of 10, to fill in this first place value of the tens place. So let's start with 10. I know if I put 10 here, it'll equal 40. Had I put 20 here, it would equal 80, and 80 is too high, so I'm going to stop at 10. All right, let's go ahead and put our plus sign here so we know what our other number is going to be. How do we find our mystery number right here? If you take away this 40 from the 64, what number is missing? I hope you were thinking 24. So now, 4 times what will give me 24? If you said 6, you were right. So 64 divided by 4 will be 16. And how did I get 16? It's that number right on top, 10 plus 6. Our distributive property is going to be 4 times 10 and 4 times 6. 4 times 10 and 4 times 6. If you want to just put that right down there on the bottom. All right, feeling better? Let's try our final question. Maritza is buying wheels for her skateboard shop. She ordered a total of 92 wheels. If wheels come in packages of 4, how many packages will she receive? So I see that she has a total of 92 wheels. That's my clue word. And wheels come in packs of 4. How many will she receive? How many packages? So we know our expression is going to be 92 divided by 4. And we are going to solve it and find the related multiplication problem. 4 times what will give me 92? That's my related multiplication problem. Let's set up a box. You should have a 4 on the outside of your box. And now think. Let's count by tens, multiples of 10 for my tens place. If I put a 10 here, 10 times 4 is 40, but 20 times 4 is 80. 80 can work, can't it? So let's go ahead and put a 20 on top of our box, and let's put 80 inside of here. And now what's my mystery number here that goes there for me to know my next question? I know 80 plus what will give me 92? If you're not sure to do it in your head, just take 92 minus 80, and that'll tell you 12. Now, boys and girls, 4 times what will give me this 12? If you said 4 times 3, you are absolutely right. So let's add this up. 20 and a 3 gives me 23. So that's going to be 92 divided by 4 is 23. My distributive property to break it up is just going to be what we see here. 4 times 20 and 4 times 3. All right. So what I hope you guys have learned from this is that you can use the box model to figure out finding your related multiplication problem. So tonight's homework will be to flip it over your paper, and I want you to do the backside questions 1 through 6, and I want you to show your work on the questions that need to show your work. And we are going to practice this tomorrow in class, so you will be an absolute expert by the time you are finished. All right, I hope you have a great night. Don't forget to submit your homework in your Google form. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.